Hello, and thank you so much for joining us on this Friday night, a little earlier than usual, into your Saturday morning. Maybe we're going to be joined by Alexis Cardoza momentarily. He has some family visiting, and they arrived right as we were kind of going live here early today for us, late evening for them. But please get in those super chats, get in those humper chats. He's going to be along any moment. We appreciate your support. What a SmackDown and what an AEW Rampage we had tonight. That ending of SmackDown was absolutely incredible. And we're going to start with SmackDown. Normally, I would ask Alexis how he's doing tonight. I will ask all of you in the chat how you are doing tonight. I'll also tell you to join us on twitch.tv/FightfulGaming, where you can send us your Twitch bits. We always appreciate those being sent in. And I'll tell you to subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. Some backstage notes on Thunder Rosa coming back a little bit in AEW Dynamite, and some backstage meetings there. I'm sure there'll be more and more coming out of Elimination Chamber. Don't forget, we've got Revolution for AEW around the corner as well. Man, oh man, what a SmackDown tonight. I am currently without a co-host, and I don't want him to not be here for the juiciest part of it, but he will be here momentarily. I do feel like it would be silly not to start with SmackDown because, my goodness, this was such a special moment for Sami Zayn. It makes me wish so badly that they would split the titles. We're going to talk about all of that delicious stuff and more, but this reminded me so much of Clash at the Castle. It reminds me of Punk in Chicago, but with a French twist in Montreal, right, guys? So I am very, very excited for Sami Zayn, who deserves all the flowers he's gotten. The bloodline was so stale before this. I'm so happy that he is being so well regarded. Very, very excited. So get in those super chats and humper chats. When Alexis is here, we are going to talk about what a special moment that was. But we will start with the beginning of SmackDown, or I guess I will start with the beginning of SmackDown, but not before we get a couple of super chats and humper chats in here. Matthew Plus, of course, chiming in saying that this is the worst stream ever. No, it's the best one because I'm the best and you stink. We've got Henry Key Tacey saying, "Hi, Kate. I'm well, floating off a great second date. A great second date. I think if I recall correctly, Henry the Casey's first date was on a Tuesday because he was not at our NXT show or joined late on our NXT show. Maybe it was the day before, but I feel like you're scheduling dates to get out of watching our post shows, which that I don't appreciate, but I'm very happy, very happy that you had a great second date. And I'm very happy that I have a co-host to join me, Alex Cardoza in the house, sporting the Yankee gear. Much like Sami Zayn got at the end. He's got the mood lighting. He's got family visiting. I only had to do 3 minutes and 30 seconds of this alone. Thank God. I don't know.
Hey, Kate, it's not the first time I've heard that from a woman before.
Hey-oh! I don't know how Pulowski used to do this alone multiple times a week, but how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm so happy to be here. I apologize for my tardiness, everyone. I had my parents were coming in from Orlando, so they happened to just get here right as soon as the show was starting. So I had to run outside, make sure they came in, and disperse them. Get them nice and set, you know.
A late arrival to your home. We have an early day for us, which is refreshing. We are joined. I guess I summoned Alex.
Hold on.
Listen, it's okay. No, thank you. Appreciate it. I was just being a white knight. Was scrolling through Twitter and saw Kate by herself, and I was like, "This is the girl who told me she might have the flu today." And I was like, "You're not doing this by yourself." I didn't know. I didn't know everything was going on. Whatever. Hey, in about 10 minutes, I'm starting my show over on Fightful Select. In case you.
Oh, you just wanted the cheap plug for your own.
I did.
Show.
I did. I was gonna white knight it and like.
Oh, what? Oh, really? Is that how that works? You come on to plug your own show. You come on here just to promote yourself on FightfulSelect.com, where you can catch Alex Pulaski doing his rendition of Sour Graps, and where you can also catch Alex and I doing a pay-per-view post-show tomorrow after Elimination Chamber. You got the folks on the main, but if you want to come get sassy behind the paywall with Alex and I, subscribe to Fightful Select for that.
Kate, I gotta say, I've had a blast with with Alex when we did the show together. I felt some synergy. I don't know.
Yeah.
Enough. I'm not here for Alex squared.
No.
He shows up late and then he's like, "Oh, Alex Pulaski's so great. Oh, you're fine too, I guess. Come on. What are you guys doing to me tonight?"
You got me so good. I was waiting for it. I saw the hand move. I said, she's
Yeah.
either gonna move, go
Oh,
get
yeah.
a drink, or she's taking me out of the show.
No, she'll do it. She'll do
She's
it.
so quick too.
Sean just mutes and Kate boots.
Now I'm covering up Cardozo's face with this super chat from Ricardo. El Comerciante de Pepsi. We have a Spanish speaker here. I should have let him do it, but saying, I love you guys.
Ricardo, el comerciante de Pepsi.
Sounds so much prettier when you say it. I love you guys. You're great. Kate and Alex times two. I do sincerely love both of my Alexes, and so does my dad chiming in saying Team Kate Alex, which is a very fun.
Why does your dad look like he belongs in a James Bond movie in that picture?
Because he does. Because my dad's
wow,
look at
dad.
That. It's at my cousin's wedding.
Yeah,
looks good. My dad's awesome.
Yeah, for sure, man.
All right, I'll let you.
He's gonna go do his show.
I'll let you guys start the review. People are in the chat being like, "Start the review." This is apparent. We're not good at that. We're not good at those things.
No, and also people are super chatting to give us money, but we don't want to wait to talk about Alex. If you want to stick around for this, you can. But the reaction that Sami Zayn got at the end of SmackDown was so special. Before I was joined by not one but two Alexes. I was likening it to Punk in Chicago and Drew at Clash of the Castle. This was such a special moment. I don't know how long that promo was supposed to be, but it was about 7 minutes shorter than I think it was supposed to be because the reception was so overwhelming. He came out to his old theme, which we have been asking for, which is such a wonderful moment. Made me teary-eyed to see such a great wrestler getting such a wonderful reaction. But Pulaski, before you go, what was your reaction to the reaction from the crowd?
Well, I mean, it was one of those things of like, I don't know how a pop that size can be expected, but I expected it. Like, it's his hometown. He is in any town the most organically over babyface since the Yes Movement era of Daniel Bryan. He's going to get huge pops wherever he goes. And credit to him, and very rare that I say this, credit to the creative team to spend the time, do the work, and build this guy over 9 months to this point where they can build an entire premium live event around that dude getting beat in his hometown. Because let's be honest, they were always going to book him to lose. Everything that happened on Monday just cinched it. They're just like, hey, everybody, don't you like this guy, Cody? He's giving your guy a pep talk because your guy's a loser. That's what they were doing on Monday. But tonight, people in Montreal didn't want to hear that shit. They're all in the tank for Sami Zayn, and they should be. This guy's amazing. And bringing back the original music, it was a no-brainer decision. But they've whiffed on so many no-brainer decisions. I'm so happy they did something right for a change.
Yeah, that was really refreshing, especially with something music rights. You don't know if that's actually a possibility, right? So I'm glad they cleared up whatever it was with CFO or whoever did that original theme, because there's an extra layer there of the babyface Sami Zayn theme, the one we all fell in love with and knew. To hear that along with the reaction he got was so special. Cardozo, what did you think?
I thought it was the best homecoming since Bret Hart, I guess I want to say. I don't know. They were boisterous, they were loud, they were coming unglued.
They were.
For me, it was just like, wow, like you can, there's certain ways that you can feel the energy through the TV. This was definitely one of them. And I think Alex said it correctly. The old McMahonism, and this is coming from Freddie, is like the hometown hero does not win in their hometown. Freddie has said that plenty of times. Unless you're Hispanic. Unless you're Hispanic, then you win in Arizona. That's it, from what he told me. That's it. In Phoenix, all those areas out there. And he goes, that's the only place that because they're scared of what the Latinos will do in the arena. But yeah, I feel like if you build that heat, or if he does lose tomorrow, whichever way, whatever happens, man, it could be explosive in a way that'll propel him to something even bigger.
Yeah, and I think Sean always says it really well, and I've kind of stolen it from him and given him credit when I feel like it. But
Damn.
he kind of says, and a lot of people I think subscribe to the notion that if it's heat that's going to follow you to a different town, then it's worth it. If it's heat that's not going to follow you to another town, you're just squashing someone in their hometown, which doesn't make sense. This heat is going to follow them. It's going to follow them all the way on the roads to WrestleMania. But I did send, believe it or not, Madcap Moss Stan and Canadian Joel Cole was at the show tonight, and when we have a reception like Sami Zayn got, I definitely love to hear from people who were there live. And so our reporter live in the field, Joel Pearl, reporting. It came through on the television as much as it could. It killed the audio at one point. I think Sami Zayn might have said a curse word, which got censored. But what was it like being there live for that moment?
That was wild. I've seen a lot of wrestling shows, man. I've seen so much in my life. I've seen Edge have ridiculous title moments. I've seen Trish Stratus wrestle her last match in Toronto. I've seen so much stuff. But tonight with Sami was absolutely wild. I mean, the interview that I did with him earlier today, I only had 5 minutes. They were like, hit it and quit it because you had no time. And I got as much as I could in. And like he was excited. He looked tired, but he was excited. And the reception he got, man, that lit him up. I don't get very emotional when it comes to wrestling these days. This was probably the first time in a long time where I looked around and I was like, holy shit, I feel something. And this was really, really well done. Not just for the crowd to like absolutely love it. They had him in the palm of his hand. Yeah, sure. To the point where there was a stage director who was like looking at the people at ringside and being like, please stop so that he can say something. And eventually like they did. And Sami was milking the moment the best that he could. But man, it was wild. Absolutely crazy.
I said before you joined, it definitely felt like they left 12 minutes for that segment or whatever, and 7 of it was just crowd reaction. I don't know what that promo was supposed to be, but it was perfect for what it was. And that crowd and the Olay chants, and he was so visibly moved by the reaction that they got.
I think they knew that that's what was going to happen, and they just said, Sami, take it home. Whatever you need to do, take it home. You don't need to sell this any more than it's already been sold. It's not like you're going to have Roman come out and do anything. It's just go out there and show them exactly why this city is behind you. Show them why this is a big moment for you. He said it himself. He said, this is my WrestleMania. And this is exactly what the crowd gave him was, for better or worse, this is his WrestleMania moment. And there's a certain, part of me that's like, okay, he got this huge moment, huge reaction. And tomorrow, if and maybe when he loses, crowd is still going to be very much in love with him. And it's not going to kill his buzz. It's not going to kill his momentum at all because they did everything right with this. Even having Ariel Helwani, I don't want to get into the TK tweets and all that.
Get into the TK tweets, Joel.
I'm not going to talk about that. But the point really is that, Helwani being there, having done that promo that aired for the live crowd before SmackDown went on the air, and then to have him out there doing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The crowd was absolutely just loving it. They were watching it just silence. It was great. And then afterwards you had Helwani do those stand-ups. And come on, man. Like, that made the most sense to do. It looked good. It felt good. The crowd was absolutely into it.
And you did mention that you had a chance to interview him. There's tons of interviews coming out on the Bread Club, on Overbooked, on Grapsody. Joel was on boots on the ground for Fightful today doing interviews. Anything that you want to tease? And then, of course, we'll talk about Madcap Moss.
I asked a whole bunch of wrestlers about bagels and had some really good responses. Nikki Cross is absolutely the sweetest woman on earth. I know that's not breaking news. Sean and Denise have talked about this before. Natalya, Natty is so good. And so, yeah, honestly, like, when you see the interview, how personable she is, I think a lot of people will understand where where her legacy lies and what she brings to the table beyond being just a good wrestler. Who else? Bronson Reed. We had a really good chat. Actually, before we actually did the live chat, I had a chance to tell him, because I do the Impact show on Thursday nights with Crest the Star. I said, Bronson, I was covering your Impact run And I got to put him over for it because I thought it was fantastic. I said, you worked with Josh Alexander. He's like, yeah, I did crazy shit with PCO. And I said, yes, I'm glad you remember this stuff. Because at the end of the day, those 18 months, we talked about it. Those 18 months he had away gave him a chance to do a lot of different work. And, he got to put that over and he looked like $1 million. So check those interviews out. They're going to drop at different points in the next little while. But it was a really good day, really successful day.
The Jam Beard saying, Joel Pro with that Madcap in a briefcase run. We do appreciate you joining us because it was such a special moment. I did want to hear from someone who was there live. As Joel said, you can catch him on Thursday nights doing the Impact post show, which the much better crested these are. But keep an eye out for those interviews. Keep an eye out for Overbooked. You and Tim, who's also there, are going to be talking Elimination Chamber post show on Sunday, I believe.
That's the plan, as long as our children are, good to us as we come back to them. By the way, I know you guys are going to talk about the whole show. I just want to say the Sheamus tag team match, that was fantastic. Best Viking Raiders match I think I've seen in months. Those four really put on a great match. And there was something else that stood out to me that was just fantastic, but I can't remember.
Joe, I got a quick question for you. When they came out, when the Viking came out, did they get a good ovation on TV? It sounded like they actually, but then again, they could be pumping in noise on TV. So I don't know. The reaction was a little weird for me. I was like, oh crap, they're embracing them.
It was there. I think people were excited for the big
good.
Meaty men slapping me.
Yes,
they knew what this story was about. They knew that this was going to be, a rough match, and it was, and it delivered. So
perfect.
There was a lot of good stuff. And then listen,
it's good for them.
I know we make fun about the Madcap Moss stuff and the Gunther stuff, but honestly, I knew what this match was going to be coming into it. I knew it was going to be Gunther gets the win, but at the same time, this was an opportunity for Moss to start breaking away from being Madcap and maybe start coming back to being Riddick Moss and getting a character that's not the Madcap Moss. I look forward to seeing what it is, but good match, should have won, but now he's going to win the world title.
Maybe he's not mad anymore. He's just
and that was so fun. That was Joel Pearl. Thank you so much for joining us, Joel. As soon as we start saying that Madcap Moss should be Gunther, you're out of here.
Wow. But he loves him, in real life. I thought that was just
I think it's half bit, half he sees some potential in him. But Jam Beard saying, as fantastic as a pop as that was for Sami, do you think the song Return should have been saved for the pay-per-view, or was tonight the best way?
It was nice.
I don't think it's gonna lose anything tomorrow. Even Alex, you're a little pickier than most of these things. So.
I don't know what they would have had him come out to tonight.
Otherwise,
the old heel Sami music before he joined the Bloodline, that wouldn't have worked. Like if he was going to come out to do a promo tonight, you had to play this. It's not like the pop tomorrow is going to be any less.
That's what I was thinking.
People will know that music is coming tomorrow. Right. They will be prepared to sing along with that music. Okay. Good. Now, I want to put this out here. John Bain saying tomorrow is going to be Canada's equivalent to Drew losing at Clash of the Castle. Hopefully, after Sami loses, they don't have Wayne Gretzky come out and lead him in sing-along of a Neil Diamond song. But other than that,
no promises.
I'm going to go to this Fightful Select and yell nitpick about stuff. So
absolutely, and you can hear Alex Pulaski and I on Fightful Select tomorrow reviewing Elimination Chamber as well. So thank you for being there when my other Alex was absent. We appreciate you coming in. I will be checking out Alex's Sour Graps after my own post show, and you should too, if not watch both. We all have multiple screens. Get another set of ears and listen to both shows at the same time. But we do appreciate you. Kind of an unorthodox start to our show tonight, but a fun one. So
that's right. I'm nothing if not unorthodox. Goodbye.
Bye.
Oh,
whoops. There we go.
I'll do that. Let's just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. Yeah.
Crushing it. We do have a couple more super chats and humper chats about this and some more general ones, which we appreciate. Adam 4836 saying, when we love someone enough to sing their theme to them, even when there are no words on it, so happy for Sami. Big time. That theme is so, I think because he had it for so long before they switched it to his other heel music, is like so synonymous with him.
I hope they had a camera crew backstage at
I'm
Gorilla.
sure. I'm sure this
Kind
will
of
be
like just documenting this, the
a
crowd,
very
and
well
just like because
documented road to WrestleMania.
I'll tell you what, yeah, just because it's real at that moment, it's real. You separate the two things, right? The entertainment from him, and that
Yeah,
moment was real.
It was definitely organic, and I'm so glad that they left that breathing room for it to happen. We've got Becky saying, I feel bad for all the Canadians that are going to be disappointed when Roman wins tomorrow night. I feel like if it's done right, it won't feel like they got robbed, because what I'm hoping happens is you get Kevin Owens coming out, also a Canadian, right? And Jey Uso being so heavily involved that I hope that the feeling is, yes, he lost, but it pivots to a really compelling tag picture. Then he lost and now everything sucks.
Yeah.
Like, I really hope it feels like the story is just turning heavily instead of like Sami lost and everything is ruined. Emotionally, I'm sure it'll be heartbreaking because this has been a much better built story than, goodness, pretty much anything that since I started watching. And better built meaning, and I'm a CM Punk fan, meaning that they didn't just hold a babyface back in order to get here. They intentionally told this story. So I'm hoping it feels like we're pivoting to the tag story that is kind of set up on a platter here. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think
agree.
It's too much to overcome, or you think that a tag team pivot will be an appropriate payoff?
I could be 10 million% wrong, but I feel like there's something brewing, and they already made up their minds. They have, so you know this very well. They plan the shows out months at a time, so they know what's coming down the pipeline. So we know
they
that.
Sure used to.
Yeah, well, yeah, yeah. I hear some stuff, but anyway, they it has to because what's this whole thing with KO? Are we just gonna squash it for now and wait until SummerSlam, or are you gonna give them that big? Are they finally gonna let go of the tag team titles? Because they will, right? Eventually, you have maybe 2 matches for them in WrestleMania, Saturday and a Sunday, where they wrestle maybe a KO and Sami for one. And I don't know.
There's such a compelling story of Roman has 2 titles and him being scared because his family isn't there, that he's only willing to put one on the line and loses it to Sami Zayn and loses the other to Cody. And Cody has to choose between Sami and Roman because he's the Royal Rumble winner.
Mm-hmm.
So there's so many ways you could go with that. But this does feel like the story that they've been telling is that Sami's going to lose tomorrow and Kevin Owens is going to be there to either pick him up off the ground, to keep him from getting beat down, to punch Jey in the face, something like that. I hope that is what we get. And honestly, they have such a storied history that it doesn't feel like a Sami and KO run is like, oh, they're smushing 2 singles guys together. It's like, no, they've been friends and enemies and friends and enemies and friends and enemies for literally decades. So I think it's not going to feel like a lot of like we saw tonight, like we saw Shotzi and Natalya be a tag team for some reason. So that's my hope for it. But do you
give the Usos a 24-hour work visa to come in tomorrow and mess things up?
There's a because of some legal complications.
Right.
My understanding is that Jey is able to come into the US, into Canada. Jimmy is not under like any circumstances, so that there's like a temporary lift. But honestly, Jay's the one that you kind of need anyway. He's the one with the story hottest in his hands at the moment. But we got some more love that came in from Kylie saying, so much hot Alex action. You're telling me I got double Alexis tonight. Orion Ben 666 saying, so we playing ska for Mirror Alex's entrance tonight. I should have thought of that. Had that queued up, but Shauna Walensky saying it's mom, dad with Uncle Alex. He's so zany, that Uncle Alex. Matthew Plus saying, Alex, show some clavicle or GTF.
Here,
back out of here.
Here you go, daddies.
That's it.
Oof. Look at this Alex. One. This one's nice and toned. The light is supposed to wash away the wrinkles and the ugliness, so I'm trying my best to like flex the clavicle, but the light kind of flushes it out.
Ryan Sullivan Coleman saying Alex is late and has no theme.
I know. I'm sorry.
It's true. Well, you heard that our own Joel Pearl is interviewed Sami Zayn, and you also heard him say it was like 5 minutes, and you just kind of had to hit it and quit it and get out of there. But not everybody who's hitting it and quitting it only wants it to last 5 minutes, Alex. I really wanted to make this segue while Joel was on here, but it was just like too real of a moment talking about Sami Zayn. But I'm keeping the segue and I'm playing the BlueChew ad. Let's go. Play.
Hello. Is your penis limp? Would you like it to be erect? Fortunately, BlueChew.com and the code FIGHTFUL is going to help you out an awful lot. Maybe you're having trouble with that. Maybe you just want the confidence. Well, BlueChew.com and the code FIGHTFUL is right for you. Free. Your first order is free. You just pay $5 shipping. There are a few other steps you go through. You consult with the online physician. If approved, it ships straight to your door in a discreet package. But your first shipment is free with the code FIGHTFUL. It's got the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, so you know they work, but they work on your schedule or whenever you're not ready and you want to be ready, whenever the mood arises. It's in a chewable form, very easy, very simple. Help yourself out. Give yourself that confidence with BlueChew.com and the code FIGHTFUL.
Tell you what, I order a new one every single time that ad plays. I use a different email. I'm kidding. I don't.
That's amazing. Hey, the more codes you're redeeming at BlueChew.com code FIGHTFUL, the better for us. So we will take it. But a very special night for Sami Zayn. And if you want a special night of your own, BlueChew.com code FIGHTFUL. I guess we should start at the top of the show. Our first match, Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler defeating Natalya and Shotzi. Here's the thing. I think Shayna Baszler and Ronda is a good call. We have in this match Baszler kind of tripping up Natalya and Ronda grabbing the arm bar on Shotzi for the tap and the win here. I've seen Shotzi tag with Raquel. I've seen Natalya tag with Tamina. Like everyone, because she just gets thrown into these positions. You gotta stop the merry-go-round of just mixing people up and putting them in tag teams. Like, we've had Shotzi with so many people. We've had Tegan Knox is sitting right there, right? We've seen Liv with Ronda and Raquel, and I think maybe she was with Shotzi at one point. It's just I said Ronda, I meant Rhea, but like this merry-go-round of just putting some singles girls together, like not even for longer than a week anymore, Alex. Like it's just like they're one tag team one week, and then they're both in separate tag teams the next week. I feel like have a division or don't have a division. I like what they're leading to. I like the idea of Ronda and Shayna at Mania for the tag titles. I think that's a kick-ass idea. I would love to actually see that. Shayna Baszler with some gold on her. Ronda in a tag team, I think, is actually a really good use of her, because my complaints with her are rarely in ring when she's not being led on to lead a match, which tag teams by default she wouldn't have to do. Love where that's going. Would like, I don't know, a rest of the division, as I've been saying for weeks and maybe not months at this point. Serviceable enough match to start. Of course, Natalya getting the Canadian hometown pop a little bit here, but what did you think of this opening match?
Did it sound like Ronda got a little bit of an applause there when she came out? Sometimes I just feel like I don't know if it's the TV, if anything's being pumped through broadcast television, because they could do that on broadcast television. Like they'll pump shit,
and they do that with Ronda more than anyone. I feel like it almost started with her.
Yeah, I don't know if it's part of her song that we have.
Pandemic.
We have a crowd as a track in the background, but she it did sound a little bit like that. But yeah, I don't like the random teams being thrown together. We've said this for months now on here on the show that it doesn't make any sense. what does make sense is Ronda and Shayna being together, and I'd love to see them go through people, and for Ronda and her not to say a word. They don't even need to speak on the mic. I think that their ability in the ring should be significant enough for them to take care of of the storylines, and then you put some cool packages behind it, right? With the tough music of them just running shot through the entire women's tag team division whenever it decides to come back together again. But yeah, I think out of that match, those are the only two that make sense to me. Like, it's cool, okay, keep them together because that's the storyline, but everything else is just,
It just is. I think you had a really cool opportunity to do a triple threat with Toxic Attraction, but they just split that up. Yeah, I like when they do 4-packs at Mania for the women's tag titles because it's the only time they get any real love. But there is an astounding statistic about how many tag teams have not made it, have split up before the next WrestleMania that have won at WrestleMania. It just never seems to come back around, unfortunately. So I wish All American Wrestling television that has women's tag team divisions, and that even includes Impact, who's normally really good. For some reason with the tag divisions, things start to get a little bit lost. I'm just looking for a division here, but a fun enough opening contest. Orion Ben 66 saying Ronda took the bump. I'm shocked. I feel like taking a bump is one of the most unnatural things in the world that you can do. And I think people, because she's MMA, underestimate how different it is to have someone trying to physically attack you versus do a DDT to you on the apron or throw you back first into the side of a ring and you're just supposed to take it. That goes against every instinct that you have as a trained fighter. That's why it's such a bizarre and incredible thing that Brock Lesnar was so successful in both worlds. That guy's just an athletic freak of nature. But if you hear MMA fighters and wrestlers talk about stepping into each other's worlds, wrestling, you're trained to protect your opponent but make it look good, right? Fighting is the opposite, and bumps are a completely unnatural thing. So I have a hard time picking on someone from that. I think it definitely feels like this past run she was less comfortable than her initial run, which is kind of weird. But she was the one leading those matches. I've said it over and over again. There's a big difference between, hey, it's your job to lead somebody who just has been kind of called up to the main roster in the past couple years or couple months, versus Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, people who are the ones leading that match. So I try to have some softness around that, but she definitely took the bump tonight. Definitely took that bump tonight, but
I don't see that often.
I think it's fun. I think it's a fun tag team to have there. But Dawn, also known as Smiley Girl 814, saying, I miss seeing my brother. Guess I have to throw some cash at him. Thank you, Dawn. It's about to get wild. It was a wild one. It was a wild one tonight in Montreal for Sami Zayn for sure. And we've already shown clavicle and made BlueChew jokes, so we are ahead of it.
Thank you, Dawn. Appreciate you.
We've got some more love coming in. We got Jam Beard saying, with the rumors they held off of Trish's return because of Dakota Kai's injury, do you think Mania could be a triple threat tag match versus Damage Control? Or Ronda Shayna versus Lita Trish? I think it's more likely you get Lita, Trish, and Becky versus Damage Control, just because of the way the story's been set up. Assuming Dakota Kai is back in time, which I think she is meant to be back in time for. I think she should be cleared by then. And also, you might not have to be fully cleared when you're in a trios match, just because you don't have to do as much work, hypothetically. So
yeah.
I love Dakota Kai. I miss seeing her in the ring. She's fantastic. Healing thoughts to her. We move along to Hit Row, and Hit Row's performance getting cut off by Bray and Michael Cole. Ultimate delight. Bray calls out Brock and Bobby. Albert Ponce kicking us off with something that I echo the sentiments of, saying, I do not wish to see either Brock or Bobby versus Bray in a Cinnamon Toast Crunch crap match at Mania. Which is such a phenomenal chat. I feel like we should pay you money for that. Asuka's on another level and will kill it at Mania. We'll get to that too, but I definitely don't need Brock and Bobby versus Bray in any capacity. I don't think that's where this is fully going. I think this might have been a catalyst for maybe something else. I don't need that. Maybe that's just wishful thinking, but I don't want to see any of that. I think Bobby versus Brock is the most clean and easy story. They've never done it with a build. They're finally doing it with a build. It's two big ass dudes kicking each other's asses, doing big boy stuff, being super strong. Get out of the way of it. Let it happen. We love that. So I don't need Bray Wyatt thrown in here. This was a little bit confusing, and I don't know why we had to have a Hit Row get cut off performance before this, as if Bray Wyatt promos aren't long enough. But what did you think of what I felt like was a very weird segment?
Yeah, the Hit Row's been, unfortunately, the bitch of everything right now. Anything that could potentially like take them off TV in a weird way, or whatever promos that they might be putting together, or even matches, right? Like we haven't seen anything really.
They're not like on a track of it.
Yeah, there's no track whatsoever, and it's sad, man, because Top Dollar looks great. He's been working on everything, and we gotta lay off that whole botch thing that happened last time. Who cares?
Yeah,
Like, come on, dude. It's a freaking live event. What do you think is gonna happen? It's not predetermined, not predetermined, but it's not pre-done.
You think he's the only wrestler to get tripped up on a dive?
Yeah, right. So for me, I don't know where they're going with this, and why did they use Bray to transition? Unfortunately, this whole thing, him and Bo, or should I say Uncle Howdy? Like, I don't understand it. I don't. He's going after one of them, but why?
And like at Mania, because that's weird. I hope not.
For a second, I had to look it up and be like, is Lashley holding a title? Did I miss something? Because, and then I was like, oh, wait, no, he just wants to beat people up now.
Also, like, where's LA Knight? Like, where's LA Knight?
Oh, yeah. Didn't he say but he kind of mentioned it last week that he's done with this. That he's like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to.
But he should be on WrestleMania. Like, he should be on WrestleMania in an important match. If you ask me, he should be on a WrestleMania match with Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's my preference.
Are you ready for this? It's going to be Bobby Lashley, because he's going to be Brock, right? Do we know he's going to be Brock? Does Brock ever lose? With LA Knight saving him when Bray and Uncle Howdy start beating him up.
Oh, Lord.
And then we get a tag team match at WrestleMania, the Doritos Bowl tag team match. I don't know.
The Baja Blast 4-pack or whatever.
Baja Blast.
Oh, Lord. I don't need him getting mixed up in any of this. Get out of the way. This is a super clean story. You've never done Brock and Bobby with a build. You're building it. I don't want him to go through the Hurt Business to do it, but it's a good enough story. I don't need Bray involved in any of this. I have no idea what's going on with him. And once again, unfortunately, it feels like they don't know what's going on with him, which is where I get nervous. I don't need to know. I like it when I don't know. I like it when there's pockets of curiosity. When I feel like they're not in control of it, that's when I start to get a little nervous. And that's kind of where I feel like they are at right now.
I think they should just start putting QR codes to let us know what the next match is going to be. And build the story using that.
Why? So that he can do it for 1 week and everybody can be like, it's been going on too long.
That was me, everyone. I don't know.
It was you and other Alex and like a bunch of nerds on the internet. I was like, dude, it's been 2 weeks.
I was like, this QR code thing has just been going on for too long.
It's been going on for so long. Wrestling's so serious. Wow, you're having fun tonight. Oh, man. Our moderator, Luis, says, Bray versus Bobby and Brock in a Snickers Kickers no DQ match, because Snickers is sponsoring Mania, or they did a couple years ago. So there you go. We got Ariel Helwani in the crowd tonight, and Tony Khan talking that S on Twitter about it. We're not going to get into that unless you're going to super chat about it. But he's taking shots at Ariel. Ariel was saying that he wasn't a great interview because he wasn't giving anything up over there.
Guys, throw some super chats our way. What are your thoughts on this whole TKD? Do you think like they need?
We're not going to talk about it unless you do. You know what I mean?
Right,
but
that's
he's
what
in
I'm
the
saying.
crowd.
Yeah. Like, let us know what your thoughts are. Send in those super chats, and just because someone went off the rocker today, I don't know why, but
he was appearing on WWE television. This was perfectly fine to me.
I love
don't
me,
think this,
Ariel. Yeah.
affects your credibility as a reporter. Certainly, I think Ariel's one of the best interviewers in the game, and I can understand why he would be frustrated in an interview where nobody's giving you like any information that you're kind of seeking out. And I can also understand why Tony Khan wouldn't be able to yield that, particularly when some of it is legally protected, right? But Tony Khan came out on Twitter talking that ass. Ariel Helwani's in the crowd. He's having a great time with the Canadians. He's pumping them up for Elimination Chamber tomorrow. This was perfectly fine. This was a fun integration. I saw nothing wrong with it. But if you guys want to talk about it, we can. But we've got Jam Beard saying a Doritos After Dark lights out match. I'm trying to think like what would be a good like corporate sponsor, like a Skittles Thrills match, and there's a bunch of spooky stuff.
Yeah, Skittles ride the rainbow to the Firefly Funhouse match because he has the rainbow.
There you go. A monster mini golf match, and they just do the same thing that they did last time. I think
Hit me up, Nick Khan. I got ideas for you, baby.
There you go. Jambeard, you can send in something else. We're not gonna drag like more wrestling media into this. But that's going another layer deep that we're not gonna do.
Yeah,
but
no,
you
we
can
were just
send in
talking
another
about
chat.
tweets. That's all we were talking about.
They were talking about silly tweets, but like from a promoter, we're not getting into like other wrestling journalists or dirt sheet boys as they were. But
I like that voice you do. That should be part of the show now.
It's kind of I've done that voice for a while. Sean has like 6 different like what a mark sounds like voice, or like not even what a mark sounds like voice. People that call other people marks, being like, "Oh, you Mark, you whatever." It's kind of similar vein. I guess
is
that's
me, by
like
the way.
Everyone's a mark. Like, yeah, it's supposed to be fun, right? If tonight's go home segment showed us anything, it's that the parts that evoke actual emotion are the best parts of it. So, all right, Ben. Stop! Don't give me ones that I'm not supposed to read, you guys.
Yeah.
You can send in substitute ones. Just put asterisks. And you can say other things.
Is that how you say it? Asterisks? Okay, got it.
Asterisks. But we will move along to Drew McIntyre versus the Viking Raiders. Joe Pearl mentioned this on his brief live cameo from the field.
There it
is. That's your news voice.
Live from
cameo from the field, Joe Pearl. But he did mention that this was an extremely hard-hitting match. This was a really fun, physical, knockdown, drag-out one. Which you would expect anytime that Drew and Sheamus are in the ring and the Viking Raiders, never mind together. But I think that this was a whole lot of fun. I like seeing the Viking Raiders in action, just being badass wrestlers. I prefer they not look like they were extras on Game of Thrones or whatever these outfits are. And I feel like Sarah Logan feels very lost in this whole thing. It doesn't feel like she's doing a ton to move stories along in any way. She's not interfering a whole lot here. But ultimately, Drew wins with the Claymore. I'll take the physicality. I prefer this and less gimmicky to more gimmicky. But two like great tag teams, and all of them being ass kickers physically. Alex, what did you think of this?
Yeah, not a bad match. I felt like it was more of a filler for me. But I want to take the Viking Raiders more seriously. I really, really do. And I think that if they stop the gimmicky like videos and just kind of go out there and beat the crap out of people, which I've said before, I would take it, because House of Black does that. House of Black for me is, and we'll talk about this later on, but they don't do many promos. They do here and there, far in between, but then they'll show up in the arena and do their spooky stuff, and it feels natural. It feels cool. So I hope that the team does that. And I mean, they're so good. They're so athletic. I want to see them just beat people up, you know?
Yeah, I agree. Like, And I try not to do the on black and gold. They were the War Raiders
I
stuff.
love that.
But
I'm gonna clip every single time you do that.
Oh gosh, there's a lot of instances of me doing that out there. I try not to be that person of like, well, when they were doing this, that was better. I think in this case it was. But not because the gimmick was so much better, but just because it let them shine through a little bit more as them, which is really two badass big dudes who can move extremely well. But Jam Beard saying, can you read this one? Yes, we can. Poor Tony Schiavone getting caught in the crosshairs of that tweet. I know it felt like when Jericho would dump on him, like calling him Ski-Bone and stuff. That's
Ski-Bone.
That's what that felt like. So, all right.
I thought it was a work.
It probably was. I feel like a lot of what Tony Khan does is half in promoter Carney world, half in real world. But Ryan Ben saying more Nikki Cross disrupting announced teams.
I was amazing.
Yes. We're gonna get there very, very shortly. Right after this Rey Mysterio interview happens and Karrion Kross interrupts him, and I don't really know what's going on here. Karrion Kross basically says that Rey's a bad father, or that he wears his lucha mask to cover up his face in disgrace, which is just like a very odd choice because it makes him seem ignorant to his own sport. Like it was just a very odd line to kind of have in there. And buddy, if you think Dominic Mysterio is better than Rey Mysterio, oh boy, you are off base, Karrion Kross, in my opinion. But I guess we're continuing this. I don't feel like the storyline or the matches have been a particular barn burner. We're also kind of running out of time, right? We're getting closer to WrestleMania by the week. I don't think this is going to be a triple threat at WrestleMania. I'm guessing it's going to be a catalyst to get Dominic over to SmackDown in some way. But I don't know. This isn't really firing for all cylinders on me. Did you have a different feeling on it? Or are you kind of in the same camp?
Yeah, same thing. Like you and I have been saying the same thing. This story's been so muddy. And because it never really had any like legs to stand on.
Speaking of not having legs to stand on,
here we go.
Rey did get injured there for a minute, I think, with a knee injury.
I am a good setuper, whatever
you
that
are.
Is. See,
You'll
I'm
get
like
there.
I'm
Next
the play-by-play
thing you know, you're
guy.
going to be thrown to BlueChew ads.
I would love to throw BlueChew ads.
Get off my gimmick. I'm the BlueChew ad thrower tour. All right.
Sorry. You don't really just throw the pills at the camera. Here you go. Not that I have any. Uh-oh, did she freeze? Ladies and gentlemen, did we lose? Did we lose her? Am I here by myself? Check 1, 2. I the only way I'll know this is if Louise or someone says something here on the chat. Oh, she did leave. Optimum strikes again. Oh boy. So now I'm here by myself, right? Yes, I am. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize. It's a mirror takeover with Alex. I'm gonna give it a couple seconds. I'm not gonna move on. Optimum got the best of her. This all had to happen because she started talking bad about BlueChew. You can't talk bad about BlueChew. That is our sponsor, Kate. Okay, just because I tried to take a little bit of it and talk about it here on the air. Now I'm full screen with where did she go? Okay, so we're gonna give it a couple seconds here. Just for her to come back. I don't want to continue moving the show along without her, obviously. All right, guys, throw in your humper chats and your super chats here for me. If you have any questions, I will do my best to answer them. Okay, she'll be right back. Yeah, she's resetting her internet, friends. Don't worry about it. But I am here. She's gonna be here any second now. I don't mind being here by myself though. Oh, Dawn, you can send in anything you want. There she is. Gotta hold the. She took her 3 minutes. She took the 3 minutes back. That's all she did. She was like, "F that, I'm taking these 3 minutes back."
Was not my computer trying to update at 11 o'clock at night on a couple minute delay there.
Wow.
I got so mad about you threatening to throw to a BlueChew ad that my computer just quit. But I'm back.
I apologize. I tried to hold the show together. It was crumbling apart, but I did my best.
I know. See, show some respect for the girl who held it together for the first 3 minutes without you. But
I'm so sorry.
Orion Ben saying that was just to pop us and donate money to Alex and Kate to his chat that he couldn't read before. Well, I appreciate that. But you're still entitled to a free chat if you want it. But Alex, I don't know if you finished the show in the time that I was gone, but I was thinking we would
We
talk
literally
about
did. We just
Asuka and
ended
Liv
it.
Morgan for a second, and also Nikki Cross being crouched out on commentary and Carmella on commentary in a wild one.
There's a lot going on there at the commentary table. Number one. Number two, Wade Barrett. Wade Barrett had his hands out like, she was like literally on him. He's like, this woman is on me. I don't know what to do. And Michael Cole's like, she's sitting on your lap. Like,
This is by far my favorite like rendition of Carmella that we get to see is the moonwalk and trash talking version. I adore it. She's not Mrs. Technical in the ring, but I find her to be a riot. I loved her saying like Raquel is strong, she has a big back. We love that for her. Was cracking me up on commentary. Nikki crouching like a weirdo in front of commentary was great. Carmella just burying Wade Barrett I thought was very funny.
yeah.
And Asuka and Liv had a good match. I'm a little nervous because ultimately Asuka wins here, countering the Oblivion with an Asuka lock. And that tells you things. Usually the person that wins on the go home is the one that loses at the pay-per-view. However, I think because tonight was so chaotic with everybody coming down to the ring and people being on commentary and crouching on commentary, that maybe that's not as much the case here. I'm hoping Asuka still wins. I don't think there's a better suited candidate right now for Bianca Belair to face at WrestleMania than Asuka. This kind of gimmick is working super well. This kind of like evil clown thing. It's tremendously over with the live crowds. When she comes out with the mask, it looks incredible. When she takes the mask away and has this amazing makeup on, she's amazing. And in the ring, she's just still one of the top tier performers. She's great. And I think her and Bianca could do a lot of really great work. I'm nervous that they're setting her and Liv up for something outside of the title picture here. I hope that's not the case. No offense to Liv Morgan at all. I just think with this refreshed persona coming after Bianca Belair is a really, really fun move for Asuka. And I don't know if like Raquel is quite ready for that spot or if a Carmella comeback is strong enough for a WrestleMania match with Bianca Belair with how protected Bianca's been. But fine enough here. Obviously, all chaos breaks loose because we are heading into Elimination Chamber with all of the women who came down and were involved in the shenanigans on the outside. What are your thoughts on what we saw tonight?
I thought it was. I like chaos. I enjoyed everything that was going on all around the table and the ring. I did wish it didn't take too much away from what was happening in the ring. It kind of felt like everyone on television was concentrating more on what was going on the table, especially as they kept on going back to it. But yeah, I don't know. What do you call it? Do you have a favorite that's going to be coming out of that chamber for the women?
I feel like it's Asuka. Like
same.
for a title match versus Bianca Belair, I feel like she is the strongest candidate, and the gap between the strongest candidate and like the second closest is kind of large, where I feel like if Piper Niven was in it, I would have a few more seeds of doubt. If Bayley or Becky had made it in it instead of the weird thing that they did on Monday where the stipulation was there and then it didn't pay off, like maybe I'd have some more seeds of doubt, but this feels like Asuka's to win. And I feel like if it's not, no offense to any of the other women in this match, but like title match as protected as Bianca Belair's been, I don't feel like that momentum is really there. And the seasoned veteran that Asuka is in the ring, I think could do some really special work with Bianca.
Plus Asuka was that Thunderdome era champ, right? Like it was, she got the belt handed to her pretty much, so
yeah, Becky was pregnant and just relinquished it. I thought that would be the story. Her and Becky, either if not for the title outside of it, I thought could be really fun. I was almost getting a little nervous that they would make that a triple threat, but I think we are probably lining up for women's trios at Mania, as we kind of discussed a little bit earlier. But
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous that they might swerve us and like give it to Liv or Raquel, which no offense to either of them. I just feel like Asuka, with where she's at right now, is who should probably.
And
who
Asuka
would
could
take
be a
that
good
match.
transitional, person to hold that
Sure.
title, to kind of like for the long run to build a Liv or build a Raquel, and build those matches heading into SummerSlam or something, or if they want to give it to them beyond that as well.
Agreed entirely. And especially if you're going to have Rhea hopefully dethroning Charlotte, like, I don't know. I think that could be really fun to have like Asuka on Raw and Rhea on SmackDown holding it down with like kind of these more unorthodox archetypes for women. And also Charlotte and Becky and Bayley getting to do valuable work outside of the title picture for a while. I think could be really good. I think it could be really good.
With you.
Also moving on to what I actually thought was really good. I feel like this was probably Madcap Moss's best match, maybe since he's ever been on the main roster. He had a really strong match here with Gunther. I don't know if I'm like super clear on who Madcap Moss currently is. Like, I know that he and Emma are dating. That's about the only thing that we get here. But this was a much more versatile match than I think we've seen him wrestling before. I feel like a lot of times it's just like a lot of shoulder blocks and not a ton else. Gunther is so incredible at making people look great and himself look great in the process because he's so imposing of a figure, but also like kind of sneakily athletic. Like the fact that guy ever goes up to the top ropes is really fun. And because he's so powerful, I feel like Madcap Moss, his speed and kind of the more explosive things that he can do came through a little bit more in this match. And it's a nice contrast against Gunther stylistically. So that's really fun. But I thought this was really strong. I think the crowd was a little bit out of it because we knew what was coming with Sami. And additionally, the outcome was inevitable. Like, it's an IC title match the day before a pay-per-view, right? Like, this isn't going to change hands. So I think the crowd was maybe like, okay, get Sami out here, and a little like, well, Gunther's going to win, so who cares? But I thought from an in-ring standpoint, this was pretty strong. We got Ricardo the heel with a fantastic handle saying, the announcer, Samantha Irvine, Luis reminds us her name, gave Gunther a little extra when she announced him and the championship. She has been noticeably leaning in a little bit more in, I think, really fun ways, not distracting ways that are like making it about her, but she kind of has been leaning into certain pronunciations in a really fun way. So a nice observation from Ricardo the heel there, and I agree. What did you think of this match, though, Alex?
Yeah, it was good. There was a couple moments there where Madcap, I thought things were going to go a little bit bad. They were in the top corner, and he was going to, like, literally Gunther. Yeah, Gunther had to literally set himself up on him as opposed to Madcap, hey, I'm going to pick you up and then, fall away slam or whatever from up here from the top rope. And I was like, this is dangerous. Like, you can see it. He didn't have his footing. Gunther looked like he almost like fell off and held himself to put his body on top of Madcap. Other than that, I didn't see anything unusual. I just felt like maybe Madcap just needs a little bit more time before doing crazy stuff like that, especially with somebody like Gunther who's so versatile and so good in the ring and can pretty much do anything. Like, you don't, God forbid, you don't want to hurt someone, not purposely, obviously, but I think that was the only little thing that I saw, and I'm not calling it a botch. I'm not calling it a mishap. I'm just calling it. Oh my God,
why are you saying he should be fired because of that? That's why
I don't want Joe coming after me. Joel, I'm sorry. I'm trying here.
That's a tricky thing, right? Because he hasn't really gotten to spread his wings a ton on the main roster from an in-ring perspective. So you like to see guys challenge themselves. Thankfully, Gunther is so good.
No, yeah,
so
you're right.
He can kind of compensate for little things like that. But very glad to see this. This was a little bit more promising. Still, if I had my druthers, would have been Santos Escobar because I just really want that match. And I really want Imperium versus Legado selfishly so much.
I like that you're pulling for our Latino people on the show, man. Look at you.
I am. And he's just so... I feel like everybody, I think I've said this before, so sorry if it's redundant, but I feel like everybody that's Hispanic, it's like, oh, it's like Eddie Guerrero.
Every time.
Every time, right? I feel like Santos Escobar is the closest comparison. Andrade is a close one of just like the effortless coolness. To me, that reads, and I am white as white can be, so it's not my place to
You
say,
are?
but it big time. It reads as like an authentically cool Hispanic vibe to me. Like it just feels kind of in that Eddie Guerrero vein where you're like, oh my God, you're a bad guy, but you're just like really cool in this like very suave way that feels authentic to Hispanic culture too.
For sure, yeah.
The presentation with the awesome, just like outfits that are so elaborate and everything. I really love it. And Santos Escobar is just a great storyteller and a wrestler at the end of the day. So
plus we want to build, we want to be bold and build these new stars. I think the last real person that they were trying to put out there was
Roman?
Alberto, unfortunately, and that completely yeah. So other than that, like what they continue to bring Ray back, but how we gotta build people, Ray eventually will go out, His son is definitely not it for me.
We do have some new signees over on WWE, so we'll see when and if they appear and on what program. We'll see who's showing up, but we will move along because we did already talk about Sami.
Yes.
So a very special night. We will just kind of recap the fact that is what capped off the night. Sami didn't say much. He said curse words in French, which is why our audio got cut off, which is super, super fun. But this was such a heartfelt way to go home. Like, what a special moment. I don't think they're going to split the titles. I think it would be really special if they do, but I think they have the ability to pivot into that tag story, and that is going to be something extremely special. So we've got one LT photo saying Santos has the feel of a big star. He definitely does. He's just presence whenever he walks down a ramp, walks into a room, walks into a ring, like just effortless coolness, which I think is something that is hard to come by in WWE because characters get so kind of templatized in a way.
Yeah.
So fun stuff. Orion Ben saying Stevie Turner just tried to take Kate out. You're 100% right. She's stealing my gimmick on NXT. They've got a gal down there named Stevie, and she super chats. Her whole gimmick is that she's like doing streams and stuff. She's coming after us, and I don't like it. I see you, Stevie Turner.
We're looking at you.
Doing puns and singing songs. I'm gonna sue.
This is my livelihood, damn it.
That's right. So I'm very excited to see what happens tomorrow with Sami. I think we are pivoting to the tag team story. And as you know, the Usos are always running out there saying that they the ones. But
here we go.
If you are like, who the ones? How am I supposed to be? Oh, here it is. If you're not one of the ones, you need
We talk a lot about performance here at Fightful. And if you want that performance, you want Athletic Greens 1. athleticgreens.com/Fightful. So excited to work with Athletic Greens. You can get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase if you visit athleticgreens.com/Fightful. And you might be asking, what is Athletic Greens? Well, 1 scoop of AG1 contains 75 vitamins, minerals, whole food sourced ingredients, including a multivitamin, multimineral, probiotic, green superfood blend, and more in 1 convenient daily serving. I took multivitamin tablets before this. Our strength and conditioning coach said you should probably move on to something more digestible, recommended AG1. I loved it. I love how it made me feel. Love the energy that it gave me. And it got me a whole lot more vitamins than I was taking in general because it absorbs a lot better. Athletic Greens 1, it effectively replaces all those products, pills, with 1 healthy drink. athleticgreens.com/Fightful, and check them out on Twitter at Athletic Greens. Let them know you heard about them from us.
AG the ones, the Usos the ones. That
Give me those
was
greens in my belly.
the segue that I was going for. My goodness.
You did well, I think, on that one.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's-
I tried.
I was
it was
a
hard
little
to
bit
search by.
turbulent. I was like, where, what?
I had
Lord?
to course
Just
correct
kidding.
because I couldn't find the video to play. It was a rough one, but we made it, Alex. We
I
made
like
it.
this. You always steer this plane out of rough seas. Wait,
I do
plane
my
and rough
best.
seas. Wow.
I do. I steer planes, trains, and automobiles
Out of rough seas.
out of rough seas and airwaves and tracks. That's what I do.
Talking
That's
about airwaves,
What I do.
top flight. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow, very well
Wow.
played. I was
Look at
looking for
that.
the basketball segue, but I couldn't find it. But
Balls.
balls. See, if I had a Manscaped read, this would have been so much
Yeah.
easier. But we do kick off with a basketball wrestling match. We have Basketball Jackson versus Basketball Martin. If we're gonna call him FTR hair and FTR bald, I'm calling him Basketball Jackson and Basketball Martin. But we do have Dante and Nick kicking us off here. And of course they open with like this thing where Dante catches the ball in the air as Nick is like planting his knee between the like this was just, I'm so athletic, it's disgusting, and there's nothing you can do about it. Wrestling with this very silly tip off that was centered around this little basketball gimmick that we had going on. Super, super fun. And not just super fun and like, hey, these guys are great in the ring. Super fun as in, what a silly way to start off the show. But ultimately, we get a triple super kick on Darius, a V-trigger, and a one-winged angel from Kenny for the win. These trios are moving right along. And after the match, we get not my favorite House of Black appearance. Lights go out, Brody and Malachi appear, and then the lights go out again and they're gone. It felt a little bit too magic tricky to me. I feel like of the spooky stuff that I don't like, theirs I usually do like because it feels more grounded. But this felt a little bit teetering on lame to me. But you know what? This is normally on at like 11:15 at night, and tonight it was on at 7:15 at night. So maybe I just felt a different vibe with it today that I normally do.
I feel like your
because it was on
spooky
early.
radar is better at 11 p.m. at night versus
I'm more bought in because
6
I'm like,
p.m.
it's creepy.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
the wind is going, it's
Yeah,
dark.
it's
all
dark out.
whatever.
6 o'clock. It's almost spring, so the light's still out. 7
There you
o'clock,
go.
should I say? Yeah.
It's like twilight.
Twilight's, yeah.
But a fun opener and a silly. I like this, especially on Rampage. Like sometimes I say the show sometimes just feels like a field trip. Like commentary's loose, everybody's out there acting silly. Like that's perfectly fine. But what did you think of our opener?
I like that. I mean, the Elite Tough Flight. These
and
guys
AR
are
Fox, by the way, like
all-
we gotta keep that in mind. Like AR Fox is unbelievable.
Yeah. So Freddie has said this before. He was like, I wasn't smartened up to this guy, but holy crap, am I now? Like he's just like the Top Flight team. It feels like they should be a team that should start building steam behind them and pushing because they're athletic. I don't know. They're not that great on the mic, but that's something that you're gonna have to kind of like start working on. And this is what I mean. Put steam behind them. Let them go up because the Elite are not gonna hold these belts forever. I mean, they could, but I mean, at some point you're gonna have to
CM
find.
Punk and FTR could come back and
Oh,
cost
we all
them
know.
to House of Black. I'm just saying.
We all know you wrote that. But yeah, so yeah, I feel it was great. They always start off the matches, and because it was 7 p.m., we got intros.
We did, which was really fun. A lot of people are learning about who AR Fox is, not just you, Alex. I was familiar with his work. I was impressed. I didn't get to see it on a consistent enough basis, but he is absolutely blowing me away. And
he isn't human. They
matches.
Said it's so true.
He isn't. It's and neither are Darius and Dante, right? Like I think Darius was out with an injury, and then he came back, and he immediately got in that accident. Thank God he's okay.
Yeah.
And Dante flourished kind of as a single star in front of our eyes. So it was like, well, what happens next? And then it was like, oh, the brothers get to reunite as a tag team, which was so fun. And then AR Fox comes into the picture and makes them a trio. Like, this feels right. The way that they, I don't want to say coexist because that's such a wrestling trope, but the way that they coexist as a trio is is fantastic. I say this about the Acclaimed. You would have thought that they were a tag team on the Indies forever,
I know.
but they weren't. Like, they were a tag team when they came to AEW, to my knowledge. And it feels the same way. It feels like they just have that automatic thing where everything clicks into place. So super fun here. Super fun here. Another victory for the Elite, but that is fine. I will take it. And then we have an interview with the Guns. And then we move along.
I'm with you. I don't understand what they're doing with them. Maybe they owe something to Billy.
DNC Digital is like, Rampage was great. Trios was nuts. I agree. Swerve Rhodes was so good. Fun story during Dynamite. MJF offered me a selfie and threw my phone into
that's amazing.
Hope your phone is okay. Yowza on that. But Rampage was really fun. Very excited about the main event as well. I thought that was a great match, and we will get there. But this Guns promo first, it's simple enough. It just says that they're champions and that they're kind of unfazed by the Acclaimed or whoever else decide to show up to challenge them. Feels like it's going to be FTR to me, but I just don't really have an interest.
Also, people love to read into tweets and social media so much. And I believe that wrestlers are the best at working the fans when it comes to social media. They are the greatest, like, swervers/workers. Like, people get so butthurt and into tweets and social media postings. And
they're working.
Yeah.
See FTR with their WWE contract on the table.
They are working right now.
Hard. We move along to another quick promo that I would say arguably more excited about than the Guns, but Yuta Wheeler challenging Orange Cassidy to a match, which I really like. They were together as a tag team for one match. I can't remember, during the kind of best friends angle, I guess, that we had going on. And they were unbelievable together. I'm very excited to see what they can do across the ring from each other. I think this could be a whole heck of a lot of fun. I've enjoyed this Orange Cassidy reign. I think it's probably time for it to wind down a little bit, not for any overwhelming reason, but I think it probably does have a little bit of a shelf life. But I want to see Wheeler Yuta and Orange Cassidy, so I've got no complaints. What do you think?
Yeah, I feel like this match will be hard hitting. So I feel like it might be a little one of those matches where we don't see this a lot in AEW, where people just kind of just like run in to try to mess up a match. Like, like someone tries to take Yuta's belt, someone's trying to take Orange Cassidy's belt, so they're both in the ring now. You know what I'm saying? Like something quirky like that happening where, I don't know. I don't see that happening, but I don't think Orange needs this belt. I think this belt needs to be somewhere like a Miro.
I agree, and I think it will be. Like, I think Wheeler doesn't need it right now. Like, he's got his ROH Pure title. He's got the Blackpool Combat Club.
It makes no sense.
He doesn't need to be All Atlantic champ. I do think Miro coming in and just destroying Orange Cassidy could be
that would be so good.
Whole heck of a lot of fun. And Orange Cassidy doesn't lose anything from that. One, because Miro should do that to pretty much anyone. And two, Orange Cassidy is perpetually over. This is fun. Miro should destroy his backpack. He should come back and destroy Orange Cassidy. He should destroy my beloved sex icon Chuck Taylor.
Oh, easy killer. PG rated show.
Come on, with his tie-dye and his hair. And
I think as he's leaving the ring, he takes the sunglasses, breaks them, and puts them on Orange Cassidy's eyes, like while he's laying his dead limp body on the ring.
Or on his thumb. He like
on his thumb, yeah.
Something. There you go. But I agree. It's time to get Miro back on my screen. I feel like that All Atlantic Championship is a perfect spot for him to come back. But I've also been saying I want Miro back on my screen for like 5 years, so we'll see. But
I hope so, man. He has a contract. He has a long contract with them, people. Don't let them work you on Twitter. Don't let them work you on Twitter.
He also re-signed.
Yes, he did.
More recently than far away. So here's a match that I somehow simultaneously wish or felt like didn't need to happen, but also wish had more time. I don't know how that gets accomplished. Of like, I don't want to see it, but if I am going to see it, at least give it more time. I've said a little bit that I just feel like this whole feud is booked in reverse. It's very odd. Like, Starks beat Jericho out the gate. Why he's running through all of his lackeys to get back to him makes no sense. They've never really given us a justification, but I wrote Garcia and Starks in a WTF are we doing match. Starks wins with the Rochambeau here. I'm not going to get mad when Daniel Garcia and Ricky Starks are on my screen individually, much less together. This story just doesn't make sense. I don't mind seeing the match at Revolution. I think it'll be good.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's happening, but it'll be neat, I guess. What are your thoughts on what we saw tonight and then this overall storyline?
I'm all for long storylines. I come from that era of WCW Monday Nitro and WWE Raw where these storylines were long and they lasted for a long time. But this here with Starks and the whole like jazz is like, for me, I think it's ran its course. I know that they're trying to mix it up.
Started with a win against Jericho. I don't even have a problem with the length of it. This has actually been one of Jericho's shorter ones if they choose to move on from it. But like,
I just feel the way that they're going about it.
Yeah, exactly. Ricky won. So why is he now going through the henchmen to get back to him for no reason?
I just feel like maybe have the blow off here at the pay-per-view and just kind of move on from it. You know, like we haven't seen. There's a lot of people that I love on television. And Starks. I want Starks to stay on TV, but let's move him ahead now. Let's try to find something new for him.
Yeah, and I initially liked the idea of like, okay, Ricky Starks loses his title shot. How do you keep him on the top of the card, keep him more relevant? A feud with Chris Jericho makes sense for that, but I don't know. Man. If Ricky had just lost in the beginning, this would have made a whole heck of a lot more sense.
Yeah, because you continue the babyface push, like trying to climb that mountain against every other JS member. JS
member. All the JS members, man. Agreed. So we move along to an Evil Uno promo that I'm going to be honest, I did not see. I was taking a decongestant and having a sneezing fit, and I had to leave the room. I love Evil Uno. I'm glad that Dark Order is getting a little bit more love. What
we've been mentioning that.
Did you see?
Yeah. He just basically came in and he was like, I'm going to show you who Evil Uno was, and will be. Like, kind of just like that, putting himself over. Good to see that we're finally seeing a little bit more of the Evil Uno crew out there. Like, I don't know, man. There's just so many people that I just want them on TV all the time. And I know we only have 2 hours and 1 hour.
It's true,
per week,
but at the same time, like, it's important to me that Uno gets a little bit of love here because Grayson is gone and Silver and Reynolds at least always kind of have the tag team to fall back on. Uno's the one who's kind of gotten left out in the dust here, right? So I'm glad that he is getting a little bit of love, even though I had to run out of the room for it and didn't have time to watch it back. But it's been quite a week of feeling sick, guys. I'm really sorry, but I did return in time barely in time to see Jade Cargill defeat Vertvixen in a squash in about 1 minute and 7 seconds. We gotta end this title, right, man? I'm sorry.
No, you're right. I think it's time to move it on. Yeah,
it's time to move on. This is the second time we've seen Vertvixen get squashed,
and you're in squash matches. Well, you're Jade. You should have people coming up to you telling you, I'm gonna break your jaw this week, and we're gonna make it a good match. Like headline Rampage. That's just your show. You know what I'm saying, or something.
Well, I thought we were headed to 50-0. We've now surpassed 50-0.
You want to break Goldberg's record.
When you are squashing the same people who aren't even signed to your roster multiple times,
yeah, that's true.
So, something's up. Like we gotta get you a real contender and for you to drop the belt because I think it's done the job of making Jade Cargill a star. I think it's overstaying its welcome a little bit. So I think her dropping the title is one of the more productive things they can do. Maybe Mercedes is coming in. I don't know. Chris Statlander still sounds like she's a ways off. Athena has the ROH belt. I miss her. Is it Red Velvet that dethrones her? I don't know.
No, that's just so weird.
Time. Yeah, that's a bit of a weird one.
I think maybe, and it cannot be somebody who you just are bringing in just for the pop. It has to be someone who starts building. And this is something that I've been now agreeing with a lot of people. I really love AEW because they are my alternative. They're what I like, but they are missing the basic storyline breakdowns. They don't have any. So there's no long-standing feuds with like a Jade. Who's she gonna go after? Who's gonna go after her? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Jade, I think, is the one where it's kind of just a case of she's held the belt so long that she's kind of run through everyone, which is fine. I don't really understand why people are saying that there's not a build to this pay-per-view.
Yeah, that's weird. I mean,
That's been
there's
weird to
there's
me.
certain storylines that I'm not getting, like little fights that I don't get, but there are
Pretty much every
stories.
title picture outside of Jade has a story.
Has a
so I
story,
don't know.
correct. That's why I specifically mentioned Jade. Like, there is nothing like what's her face? Jamie Hayter. Like, you saw her story being built up. You saw her going through the ranks and have these awesome fights with all these women. And you have all the other women that are building stories to their blow-off matches or to other matches. But with this one specifically with Jade, it's missing something.
I think it's missing a credible threat of an opponent because she crushed everybody, and I think the most natural person for her to drop to is not going to be back for a little bit. And Chris Statlander and Athena, I miss being on my television. So
I think that's what they're waiting on. Honestly, I think they might build this to the point where if Chris does come back, it's going to be huge. People love her.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know how we're going to sustain this many months until then, but that would be, I think, best case scenario from a story standpoint. It's just got to run its course, but until then, we're going to get Jade squashing people. So we'll take it.
Do it. Squash me, Jade.
All right, Ben666 saying we got double Mark Henry tonight and Dark Yuta. We did. It wasn't just the one line. Not
Dark
just the
Yuta.
one line for Mark Henry. His look like it's been enough talk line, but we got some more drama breaking between, I guess, Tony Khan and Ariel.
We don't want to read what he called them.
No thanks. Beer saying, I'm hoping Tony Khan's important announcement is about Jade versus Mercedes, or is it more of TK addressing his enemies? I guess we're gonna find out. I guess Sean tweeted, I just want to get scoops and eat fried chicken. Buddy, you can't eat fried chicken during a women's match. We just talked about the women's division. It'll get nasty for you.
Don't choke on that chicken.
G-Bro saying Hater loses to Sheeta or you're doing it wrong. I don't know if that's a move. I could see Sheeta dethroning Jade would be great, because I feel like in an ideal world to me, and this is just my opinion, the TBS title should mirror the TNT title, and that should be more of the workhorse title that gets defended with great frequency. Sheeta could absolutely be in that role. That would be a ton of fun, but it could be Willow. It could be a number of people, but they've got to do the work to put someone credible in that role. So hoping we get to see something pop out of that sooner rather than later. But one thing I'm very glad we got to see was Swerve versus Dustin Rhodes, and a great match, and the return of Keith Lee looking clean cut with a little salt and pepper in his hair. He's looking good. Very happy to see him back. But I do feel like, I don't know. I don't know if I love the road that this went down, but I did love a lot about the match. Ultimately, this ends because Keith Lee is here to equalize our beloved dorks, the moguls, alongside Swerve. Dustin's head is placed on the cinder block, much like Keith Lee's was. I'll say this. The match was great. Swerve is fantastic. And Dustin Rhodes is retiring by choice, not force. He looked really good in this. He still got it. He can still go. Swerve, I think, is such an easy person to tango with in there. Like, he's so versatile and can do so much fun stuff that I think it's probably an easy go of it for Dustin. But he looked great tonight. He looked really good. I just feel like
I don't mind the road. I don't mind the road. I don't know why Keith Lee went off television. Nobody knows, right? Maybe they wanted to give him a break. You know, the EW does this where they're talent.
He could have
usually.
gone and gotten work. He could have been tending to health issue. He might have had a real injury that he was tending to, whatever.
Yes, it's none of our business, and if it doesn't have to be out, it won't be out. But for some reason, he was off television, which led Swerve to swerve another way to get back around to this story. Yes, that we're seeing now, where Keith Lee is back, saving Dustin, right? So is this the way that we go to now, and we get our Swerve and Keith Lee like death match or something? That would be cool.
It would have been cool 3 months ago.
Oh, come on. It's okay.
You know what? It is okay. It's exactly okay. And it could have been awesome. Like, this felt so personal, and it felt so white hot. And it was like my favorite story going. And I'm glad that they picked it back up, because I feel like it should be resolved. But tonight just made me be like,
this story reminds me of Rey Mysterio and Karrion Kross, where
okay, well, I don't like that very much either.
Right, I know, where it's the same thing. And look, apparently they're gonna end up having a spooky match soon, right, with witches and trolls or something. But it'll happen.
But this felt like, if you have venom with someone, honest to God venom, honest to God anger, and I like the cinder block piece of it being the reason that he was out, because that feels like a holy S moment. But at the same time, if my blood is boiling at this person, I'm not like, you know what? I'll see you in 3 months. No, you want to beat that guy's ass right then, right there, right now. So I'm glad the match is happening. The match itself, I think, is going to be great. I'm glad they are resolving it, because I don't like when loose ends just kind of fall apart like that. I just feel like this would have been so much better if it was capitalizing while striking while the iron was hot, rather than heating this back up with 1 week. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm in this weird spot where I'm glad it's happening. I just so much would have preferred that it happened earlier, because I feel like that would have been a way hotter thing. I also don't know if I love Keith Lee's big comeback being on like Rampage, but I do appreciate you're in that 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock window.
Yeah.
And Keith Lee's a face that's familiar with WWE fans a little bit. So I don't think it's a bad play. I just feel like Keith Lee deserves like a main show return. So mixed feelings on this. Ultimately, I'm glad the match is happening. I just kind of wish it felt so visceral. It felt so personal for a while there that like
it'll get back. I think it'll get back there. I think
you got like a week though, I don't know.
Who says this has to end in a week? Let's take our 3 months back that he's been.
They already had such a this is the problem with this match being so far away from the builds that led to it. You know what I mean?
Do it. Kate, come on.
No, I hate everything.
I love it.
No, I don't. I'm happy it's happening.
I hate everything, and I hate that Keith Lee took this long.
Wrestling is extremely serious. We should get very mad on Twitter.
I don't like this.
Ricardo saying, I can't wait for Keith Lee versus Swerve. That will rule. The match will definitely rule. I have no doubt about that. They're two of my favorite in the ring. Stylistically, they are not only different enough to make it super fun, but both veteran enough to know exactly how to capitalize on each other's ring styles. The match itself will be great. I just hope they can heat it up in time, because I want it boiling hot. That's where I want it.
Is that how you take
Speaking
a
of
shower?
boiling hot, we had clavicle earlier in the night.
Dude.
We've got Twitter feuds cooking right now. We got BlueChew reads. We've been having fun tonight. We're going to have a super fun elimination chamber tomorrow as well. We're going to have the show on the main channel, but myself and Alex Pulaski behind the paywall on Fightful Select, which should be an absolute blast. I love doing those behind the paywall shows. Thank you. Alex will be hanging out with his family, I'm assuming, but
yeah, my mom and dad are here. I'm going to see if, they might have too much of me and be like, please get away from me. So I know that Rob is doing pre-show as well, and
yes,
so I might just sneak in there and be like, hey parents, I'm gonna go play with my wrestling buddies.
Jam Beard says Kate's now sounding like Bischoff and the bro man. I love that you called her the bro man with her hating on this Lee and Swerve. Bro, bro, like I just don't understand why they're wearing these outfits.
Yo, they hate each other so much that they sound so similar now. It's crazy to me.
We're not talking dirt sheets.
No, we're not. We're not.
The bromance did pop me because that just feels.
We're definitely not saying anything bad, but I love Bischoff. I grew up watching him. Honestly, I did love Vince as well. So, bro, man, sorry, I said his name, but yeah,
you can say I just popped for the bromance.
Oh, okay, but for me, it was just like, come on, man. I grew up with these guys, and don't get old and senile now. Come on, damn it. Love you guys.
Well, on that note, let's plug your stuff and get out of here, would you?
Hey, so you can follow me on Alexis Cardozo on Instagram or _ Alexis Cardozo on Twitter. And I will be providing Ryan a song for us. Don't worry, I promise.
Don't worry about that guy. All right, don't worry about
Wow. Kate came in.
He's my Wednesday night co-host
tonight.
I know who that guy is. All right.
Sorry, Ryan.
Well, but please do tune in tomorrow. We've got so much going on Fightful. You've got Grapsity, I believe, is still happening tomorrow. You've got the main feed post show. You got the select post show. You got the pre-show.
Jesus.
You've got on Sunday, most likely, Joel and Tim talking about their live experience at Elimination Chamber. We got so much happening, and that's just on the YouTube side of things. You've also got Sean Ross Sapp breaking all of the scoops he can get his dirty little hands on. And you can bet there's going to be more coming out of Elimination Chamber on the roads to WrestleMania.
I hate that you call it that, and I hate that they call it that too.
Well, you've got about 2.5 months of it being called that. So
then the post promos after that for another 2 months.
Buckle up, my friend. And the documentary that's gonna come out.
God.
My goodness. But have a wonderful and safe weekend. You can follow me at Miss Kate Fabe on Twitter. You can catch me every Tuesday and Friday on Fightful YouTube, Wednesdays at the Mark Order Podcast, and I will be returning to Excite Wrestling in March as well, doing commentary, twitch.tv/Excite Wrestling with an X, not an EX, because this is wrestling after all, like Wrestling Society.
Hey, are you plugging in your link or what?
My Patreon link?
Yeah. What? She asked it like
I don't know.
that.
We're always making jokes about OnlyFans and stuff. No. My Patreon is going to have some paid tiers that are coming soon, but you can hop on free content over there as well. But I will get better about plugging that.
Support her, please. She's amazing.
Have a safe and wonderful weekend. Enjoy Elimination Chamber. We'll see you hopefully tomorrow and definitely next week. Be safe. Have a